Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you.
Sing,
I want to see you, see you high and lifted up,
shining
in the light of your glory.
Please pour out
your power and love.
we
sing, holy, holy, holy.
To see you
High and lifted up,
you are shining
in the light of your glory.
Oh, pour out
your power and love.
we sing
As we sing, holy, holy, holy.
I want to see you. Sing, open the
eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. Open the eyes of my heart, Lord. Open the eyes of my heart. I want to see you. I want to see you. See you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory.
Please pour
out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy.
see you
High and lifted up,
you are shining
in the light of your glory.
pour
out your power and love
we sing
as we sing, holy, holy,
to
see you high and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy.
to see you
High and lifted up, shining in the light of your glory. Pour out your power and love as we sing, holy, holy, holy.
we say
Holy, holy, holy.
you are holy
Holy, holy, holy.
you holy
Holy, holy, holy.
I want to
See you.
Who am I that you are mindful of me, that you hear me when I call? Is it true that you are thinking of me, how you love me? It's amazing. Sing, who am I?
Who am I that you are mindful of me?
That you hear me.
That you hear me
When I call.
when I call.
Sing, is it true?
Is it true that you are thinking of me?
Oh, how you love me.
How you love me.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
of God.
I am a friend 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 of God. He calls me friend.
Sing, I am a friend of God.
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 Friend of God.
I am a friend of God. He calls me friend.
Say, who am I that you are mindful of me?
Ladies and gentlemen, please can I encourage you to begin taking your seats. The assembly will begin in 2 minutes.
That you are thinking of me, how you love me. It's amazing. So who am I?
Who am I that you are mindful of me?
That you hear me,
That you hear me
when I call.
when I call.
Is it true that you?
Is it true that you are thinking of me?
How you love me.
How you love me?
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
I am a friend of God.
I'm a friend of God.
I'm a friend of God.
I am a friend of God.
Friend of God.
I am a friend of God. He calls me friend.
I am a friend of
I
God.
am a friend of God.
I am a friend of God.
I am a friend of God.
Friend of God.
I am a friend of God. He calls me friend.
Almighty Lord of glory, you have called me friend. Sing, God Almighty,
God Almighty,
Lord of glory,
Lord of glory, you have called me friend.
sing, God Almighty,
God Almighty,
Lord of glory,
Lord of glory,
call me friend.
you have called me friend.
God Almighty,
God Almighty, Lord of glory, you have called me friend.
Sing, I am a friend of
I
God.
am a friend of God.
I am a friend of God.
I am a friend of God.
Friend of God.
I am a friend of God. He calls me friend. He calls me friend. He calls me friend.
Great. Good afternoon and welcome everyone to Nottingham Citizens. Can we show our appreciation to God's Vineyard Choir? Amazing. Woo, woo. Thank you. My name's Frances Finn. I'm a priest in the Church of England, and this is the church that I work at. And I'm delighted to see you all here tonight because we passionately believe here that everyone matters. Everyone is special. Everyone is important to God, who we follow and worship here. And we've become a place of welcome for people all over the world, for refugees and asylum seekers. And if you come on a Sunday, you'll see that we have different languages spoken. We have words up in different languages. I want to invite my brother Nestor just to say hello to you, because we have so many Spanish speakers. They actually meet in their own congregation on a Tuesday, as well as coming on a Sunday. We want everyone to feel welcome. Nestor, over to you. He's going to speak in Spanish. Any Spanish speakers? Oh, brilliant. Go on. Well, enjoy. Nestor's a bit shy about his English, but he's amazing.
So he's representing Hispano-American community, and he's giving thanks to you guys.
Donde hemos encontrado un lugar donde podemos tener un encuentro con Dios y a la misma vez compartir y conocer con otras culturas.
So, so where they found God, and they found, oh, as well as sharing like different cultures and recognize different cultures as well. Yeah.
Donde prima la igualdad, porque ante los ojos de Dios todos somos iguales. Estamos felices de hacer parte de esta familia donde hemos encontrado el apoyo emocional, espiritual, educativo y más importante, recargarnos del amor de Dios.
So, a ver, ¿dónde aquí?
What, I know what Nestor's going to say. You say it, Nestor, and I will just say at the end, or you can help me. Yeah, you carry on, Nestor.
Queremos agradecer por este espacio tan maravilloso que nos brindan para orar y recargarnos del amor de Dios. Queremos agradecer por tenernos en cuenta el día de hoy y tenernos presente como parte de la iglesia, la cual estamos creciendo cada día más. Muchas gracias.
So, just to say from Nestor that he's felt welcome here and that he hopes you all feel welcome too, and that we're sharing in the Spirit of God together as we pursue the things that God believes in, which is justice and fairness for everybody. And in the congregation that you belong to, they've experienced some of that. Is that okay? Was that good?
Yes, it's all right.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Thank you. Just one welcome to you watching online. It is great to have this facility to be able to stream this on YouTube. So don't forget, there's a link to that you've probably all been sent, and you can watch it back again. Hello to our latecomers. Well done. You're welcome. Just come and find a seat. And so I am going to hand over to the team here. They put so much work in. Nottingham Citizens has achieved some amazing things in the last few years. So I hope you enjoy the night. Thank you to our politicians that are here as well. And please do join in and don't be shy.
Hi, everyone. How are you? Good. Hi, my name is Joannie from Nottingham Girls Academy. And on behalf of all the young people here tonight using their voice for social justice, a huge welcome. Welcome as well to the many people joining us via our live stream on YouTube. Let's all look at the camera, over there, guys, and give them a big wave. We hope you enjoy being with us today. Let's welcome up Sandra and Maya, who will set the scene for the evening. Let's take on this one.
It's me, is it? Okay. So, good evening, everybody. My name is Sandra. I'm a governor at Radford Academy.
And my name's Maya. I'm a student at Nottingham Girls Academy.
Okay, so what is tonight all about? Ultimately, it's about you. It's about our members, invited guests, citizens of this city that we love, who are gathered here tonight because we believe in the power of people coming together in radical action to create a better Nottingham. As an alliance of civil society organisations, Nottingham Citizens have, over 10 years now, been using the tools of community organising to listen in to our communities, to unite around common concerns and work together to change the world from what it is to what we believe it should be. Tonight, we bring together some of this organising activity into this public space and ask our political leaders to respond to our proposals for change.
In just over 2 weeks' time, on Thursday, 4th of May, people in Nottingham City will go to the polls to select the 55 councillors who they want to represent them in the 20 wards across the city. Nottingham is one of the youngest cities in the country, and whilst people like me are unable to have a vote, we believe that young people should have a say on shaping the future of Nottingham. Whilst we'll have some updates and celebration moments from our other citywide campaign teams, this assembly will focus on the incredible community organising that we have been leading under the banner of our Young People's Manifesto.
Back in October, over 100 people gathered to launch their listening campaigns. Thousands of conversations later, they regathered on December 8th to bring their listening together, to hear stories from fellow young people and to vote on areas of concern they wanted to organise around. If you were at the Members' Assembly in February, you will, like me, have been blown away by the courage and intelligence with which our young people shared their stories and their ideas for what needs to be done to make our city safer, fairer, where all people within the city can thrive. Tonight, they will take centre stage.
On screen, you'll see the plan for tonight. After our traditional roll call, we'll be hearing short speeches from our political candidates, presentations from our city-wide campaigns, followed by a focus on our Young People's Manifesto, where the candidates will respond to our agenda for change. After this, there will be time for conversations whilst our young people vote on their preferred candidate. More on this in a moment. But then, we'll wrap up with some next steps by sharing the opportunities for Nottingham Citizens members to take action as we head towards a general election.
But first, it's time for our roll call. Let's see who is part of this wonderful alliance called Nottingham Citizens. We've got Decore, our wonderful Radford Academy drummers, ready in place to keep the energy up throughout. So do give a quick ripple of applause between each member. So let's get going.
Hello, everybody. My name is Gili Tzidkiyahu. I am the rabbi of Nottingham Liberal Synagogue. Nottingham Liberal Synagogue has been a member of Citizens UK from Nottingham since the very beginning. And I represent a congregation of about 250 people. And it is lovely to be here today.
Good evening, my name is John Murray. I'm here representing the Catholic Churches of Our Lady of Grace Cotgrave and the Holy Spirit West Bridgeford. We are some 500 to 600 members, and we are now in the larger parish of the Annunciation in Rushcliffe, which also encompasses the Catholic Churches of St Anne's in Ratcliffe-on-Trent and St Margaret Clitheroe in Keyworth.
Yes, good evening. My name is Andreas Bieler. I'm from the University and College Union at the University of Nottingham. We have 1,300 members, and we have been part of Nottingham Citizens for almost 10 years now. Evening, everyone.
Hello, I'm Stephen Legg from the School of Geography, University of Nottingham. We've been collaborating for about 10 years as well with Citizens, and we represent about 700 students and 75 staff.
Hi everybody, my name's Marcia. I'm representing Nottingham Trent Vineyard, and we've been members of Citizens around 10 years plus, and we represent over 2,000 members. It's lovely to be here.
Hi, good evening, everyone. I'm Minister Paul Harris from the Pilgrim Church based in Newport Meadows. We have approximately 70 members, and we've been part of since between 7 and 8 years, and it's wonderful to be here. Thank you.
Good evening, everybody. My name is Kevin Love. I'm Deputy Dean in the School of Social Sciences at Nottingham Trent University, just up the road here. We've been involved with Citizens, I think, about 8 or 9 years, so we're newcomers, really. But we represent around about 8,000 students and around about 650 members of staff.
Hi everyone, I'm Beth French. I'm representing St Barnabas Roman Catholic Cathedral. We've been involved for about 12 years and we have over 1,000 members.
Hi, I'm Nick Young. This is Maisie. We come from Clarside Academy. We represent 270 children and 20 members of staff, and this is our first time.
Hi, I'm Eileen from St Peter's and All Saints Nottingham. We've been members for 8 years. We represent 173 on our electoral roll, average congregation of 60 plus, and a choir of approximately 22. We have countless visitors every day, including strong links to the LGBT network, celebrating life, love and diversity.
Hello, my name is Carmont Candola. I'm representing Emmanuel House. We've been part of the membership for 6 years. I've been working for Emmanuel House for 2 years, and I'm the Culture Pacific tenancy and outreach worker. So I work with ethnic minorities and ethnic minorities that English isn't their first language. Even though Emmanuel House is a homeless place, we do have other services involved in the project. So it's not just homelessness, but we deal with other projects as well. So thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Maimouna. I'm from Radford Academy. We've been part of Nottingham Citizens for 6 years, and I represent at least 210 people. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Rosie Kona. I'm part of God's Vineyard Ministries. We've been a part of Nottingham Citizens for over 10 years, and I represent around 300 people.
Hello, my name's Poppy and I'm representing Hogarth Academy, around 200 people.
Hello, my name's Sophia. I'm from Himma and I represent around 300 people, and we have been a member of Nottingham Citizens for about 12 years.
Hello everybody, my name is Becky Riley and we are here from Huntingdon Academy, a primary school in St Anne's, and we are here representing approximately 400 people. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Daisy and we are from Sycamore Academy and we've been in Nottingham Citizens for 4 years. We are representing 500 people.
Hi, my name is Paul Woolley. I'm representing Lead Academy Trust tonight, which consists of 25 academies, 10 which are based in Nottingham, 5 who are here tonight. So we're representing quite a few people, and it's a pleasure to be part of Nottingham Citizens.
Hello, I'm Pensita. I'm from St Nick's. We've been members since the beginning, and we represent around 400 people.
Hi, my name is Kato and I represent the students of the University of Nottingham School of Politics and International Relations.
Hi, my name is Umar Rashid. I'm the Programs Manager at Muslim Hands. Muslim Hands is one of the largest Muslim charities in the UK. We have over 200 members of staff. We're working in over 50 countries, got over around about 200 schools
basic health units, a whole range of different projects, as well as the open kitchen here in Nottingham as well. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Indy and I'm representing the School of Sociology and Social Policy from the University of Nottingham.
Hi, I'm Jackie Wilson. I am co-founder of Positively Empowered Kids, a social enterprise working to prevent mental ill health in children. And we work with thousands of children across the city and county every year. And we've been part of Citizens for a year. Thank you.
So can we have one final round of applause for...
Finally, we welcome the guests this evening from the organisations not currently part of our alliance. Welcome to
Nottingham College,
the Pythian Club,
Dancop,
St Paul's Boundary Road,
Nottinghamshire Optimists,
Challenge Nottingham,
Fernwood School,
Nottingham Youth Climate Assembly,
and Nottingham Academy.
Let's give them a big Nottingham Citizens welcome now.
Hello everyone, my name is Jackie and as I said, I'm co-founder of Positively Empowered Kids.
Hi, my name is Amina Salim and I'm a member of Nottingham Girls Academy.
This might be the first time with us tonight, so we want to explain how we do things. This isn't a hustings, a rally or a Q&A with decision makers. It's not really like any other political meeting you might go to. It's a moment for ordinary people in Nottingham who have taken the time to find out what is putting pressure on their friends, family and neighbours, to bring their concerns to political leaders and ask them to take action with us on an agenda decided by the community.
Now, many of you will belong to different political parties or hold particular values, but when we come together, we leave those things at the door. We're interested in politics, but not the kind of bickering we often see in the news that puts people off getting involved in decisions that matter. The standards of public life right now in our country makes me angry. As a young person, I can tell you that me and my friends are not happy with the way we often see politicians behaving, half-truths, bickering, failing to listen, and unwilling to work with people who see things differently to them. We deserve so much better than that. We are here to raise the bar on the standard of public life and ways of doing politics in this country. We have been pleased to meet with our candidates from before today and want to build a positive relationship with all of them. As a local chapter of Citizens UK, Nottingham Citizens is a strictly non-partisan. We will work with and hold to account decision makers of all and any political parties. We seek a respectful public engagement that leads to positive change for local people. So, of course, we respectfully ask, no booing, no heckling. Please applaud when commitments are made to work with us and remain silent when you hear something you don't like. Please show you agree to this by raising your hand. Thank you.
In a moment, we'll hear from two political candidates, the Labour Group leader and current leader of Nottingham City Council, Councillor David Mellon, and Conservative Group candidate, Mr Daniel Atherton. You will notice there are 3 chairs on stage this evening. Regretfully, the leader of the Independence Group, Councillor Kevin Clark, decided not to be with us this evening, nor did he wish his party to be represented at all. You may or may not want to take this into consideration as you head to the polls on the 4th of May. And so, Mr Atherton and Councillor Mellon, we want to publicly thank you for being with us this evening and honour you for putting yourselves forward as public servants in our city. Let's put our hands together to show our thanks.
If you've not done so already, please put your phones on silent, but do not put them away. We want to encourage you to use social media to spread the good work we are doing here today, using the hashtag and social media handles on the rear of your program and on screen now. Maya shared earlier that we will be conducting a vote. Every under 18 like me in the room has been given a voting slip with the 2 candidates' names who we'll be hearing from shortly. We've also been given a list of the asks and will be listening intently to how the candidates respond to what we want to see in the city. Towards the end of the evening, there'll be a moment for us to put our voting slips into the ballot boxes and we'll reveal the results before we leave. Adults, I'm afraid you'll have to wait until the 4th of May to register your vote. But why don't you all commit to having conversations with young people tonight, and in the next 2 weeks, when you head to the polling station on the 4th, you can vote in our interests. And finally, as the saying goes, politics is far too important to be left to the politicians. That is why we gather tonight, and that is why we are Nottingham citizens. Thank you.
Before we hear from our teams and our Young People's Manifesto leaders, let's invite our political candidates to the stage. Please put your hands together for Labour Group Leader, Councillor David Mellon, and representing the Nottingham Conservatives, Mr. Daniel Atherton. Later this evening, the candidates will respond to the specific proposals for change developed by our young people. But to begin with, we've asked each candidate to prepare a 2-minute speech in which they tell us their vision for the future of young people in Nottingham. Oh, Rohit, I thought you were speaking then. A wonderful student at Sycamore Academy will be our timekeeper this evening. Once you hear the bell, please wrap up within 10 seconds. If you hear a second bell, you must stop speaking. You risk disobeying Rohit at your peril. We'll hear from Mr. Atherton first, followed by Councillor Mellon. Let's welcome Mr. Atherton to the microphone.
This microphone. When I'm good. Perfect. Hello, everyone. This is my first time talking to an audience this large since I was Fagin in my school's performance of Oliver Twist. That was a while ago, and I think a few people in this room even saw that performance. It was terrible. Thank you. It's really nice to see everyone here, because this is such a good mix of people that just represents Nottingham to its core, really. Speaking to the younger people in the room, which I am not that far off you. Maybe some of you are a bit further off. My hair deceives it. I'm only 28, and I'm hoping to be one of the councillors for the Conservative group. May well be 1 or 2 of us, so I may be the leader de facto, who knows, in about 2 weeks' time. But turning to young matters, I believe firmly, my day job, I work down in Parliament and do a lot of it remotely from up here, which I love because it lets me be hands-on with campaigns like the Votes at 16 campaign. And I know we're not going to touch on that tonight, but I do want to mention how important I think it is to engage young people in politics. Because it's the next generation. How can you make people be excited about politics without having them there? I think more importantly than just listening to what everyone's requests are tonight, it shouldn't just be a request. I think 16 and 17-year-olds should be able to go to the poll, and parties should target them for actual things. So, not going to stand on a manifesto of that, because I don't think the Central Party will support that, but I definitely do. Moving on, why do I think young people should vote Conservative at this next election if they're able to, or the election after that? I think fundamentally the Conservative view is you need high-quality education, academic attainment, and value for the taxpayer, and the ability to have a good start in life. So your own home, first-time home buyers, being able to find a good job in the city that you live in and love the community you live in. And I think that's really deep at the heart of what Conservative should and can stand by. First and foremost, we're going to touch on it later, but I think my priority personally in the city is combating child hunger. And that's something that I think every Conservative can get behind. Every party can. Was it 10 seconds? Sorry, I didn't listen, which is silly. I'm going to go with that. I want to go really deep down into what my pledges would be if I was able to stand up here as the actual leader of the Conservatives in the city, and what I think we can offer to the young population of Nottingham. Thank you very much.
Thank you for sharing your vision with us and being with us this evening. Before you retake your seats in the church, please... Oh, wait. Thank you, Mr. Atherton, for sharing your vision with us. Please, can you join me now in welcoming Councillor Mellon to the microphone?
Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for your welcome. I want Nottingham to be a safe city, a clean city, an ambitious city, a green city, and a healthy city, not just for adults, but for children and for young people. I want all young people in Nottingham to have a positive start from life. I want you to be able to learn effectively and achieve your potential. I want you to have fun, to enjoy yourselves, for there to be lots of positive and affordable experiences in our city for you. You are today's citizens, not just tomorrow's. Specifically, we are working in Nottingham towards being accredited as a UNICEF child-friendly city that puts children and young people at the heart of everything that we do. Whatever you're doing, you should have a say in how it's delivered to you. We are looking at ways to support families through the serious and ongoing cost of living crisis, where parents are choosing about heating and eating, and many of you are affected by that. We want to launch an anti-poverty strategy, ensuring access to decent broadband and supporting community food hubs, which support both young people and their families. We want to continue to play our part in protecting the planet by being the first city in this country to be carbon neutral by 2028. The world is a large world, but it's a large world that belongs to all of us, and many of you will live on it longer than I will. We need to protect it. And we have a manifesto which has 105 pledges, many of which apply to families and children. You can look at it on the web. We believe that the Labour Party is the best party for leading Nottingham. Thank you.
Thank you for sharing your vision with us and being with us this evening. Before you retake your seats, please accept these flowers as a token of our appreciation.
We've got Nick.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, gentlemen. And wow, what a lot of people this evening. It was fantastic to see you all. I'm Nick Gretton from Trent Vineyard Church, and we're one of the early members of Citizens, and I'm also co-chair of the Fair Work Action Team. We've put a lot of focus this year on campaigning for pay rises, particularly for health and care workers across the city and beyond. And I think there's a picture of something we've done up there. It's one of our campaigns, following some public actions amongst health leaders, politicians, civil society leaders, and of course the workers themselves. We're delighted to build a relationship with senior people in our local health system, and we've got one of the most important people here this evening. I'm going to welcome Rosa Waddingham. Rosa is Director of Nursing and an Executive Board Member for Nottingham and Nottinghamshire Integrated Care System. Wow, what a mouthful. Now, Rosa, welcome to this fantastic group of people.
Wow, it's wonderful to be here.
And what is, just so we all know, an integrated care system, an ICS, what is that?
It's us. And I was really struck earlier when we talked about, you know, the system is us, it's all of us, it's everybody in this room. And the integrated care system brings together health, which is my main bit of the jigsaw. Social care, partners like Nottingham Citizens, schools, the voluntary sector, our local authorities, to really deliver improved health and social care that enables everybody across Nottingham to enjoy the best possible health and well-being.
That's amazing. And also you're Director of Nursing, so that's an important role as well, isn't it?
Well, it is, but I don't actually do very much directing of nurses. What my job is instead is looking at quality, so making sure that the care that people actually receive is of the very, very best quality. And we focus on 4 things, really. You know, innovation and getting value for money, and tackling inequalities. And some of the conversations that we've heard that have led to the pledges, and I'm sure we'll hear later, are about the inequalities that people face. And our job is very much to tackle that so that we can improve outcomes for people and, most importantly, support the social and economic development of Nottingham and Nottinghamshire.
So when we focus in on in-work poverty, why is that so important for you personally?
So for me personally, and I was really pleased to see the picture of the donuts. I was at that event and ate some of those donuts. But there I heard a story from a young boy that really resonated with me. I started nursing 30 years ago, on low pay, with a family to support, and worked incredible hours to be able to feed and support my family. And what I've heard from children is that that's still the same today, and that people's parents are spending huge amounts of time at work in order to be able to give their children the future they want for them. So for me, now that I have a voice and I have a position and I have the ability to speak about matters like fair pay in health and social care and ensuring that everybody who works in the NHS gets the real living wage, it's a real privilege to be able to do so.
That's wonderful. Thank you, Rosa. As a token of appreciation, we've got some flowers. And a round of applause, please, for Rosa Wadham. And we'll see Rosa on the 8th of June. We're going to be launching, just to be clear, we're going to be launching our ITS-wide Real Living Wage Action Team together on the 8th of June. And Rosa's going to be right at the front of that. Thank you, Rosa. Thank you.
Thank you again, Rosa and Nick. Hi guys, I'm Shantae and I'm a politics student at the University of Nottingham, and I'm also part of the Fair Work Action Team, and we have got a lot to celebrate, and that is thanks to our tireless campaigning over the years. The campaign for the real living wage is slowly growing in our city, which is amazing. I think that deserves a round of applause in itself. Okay, so for those of you who are at our members' assembly in February, you will know that we shared with you the great news that Nottingham Healthcare NHS Foundation Trust began paying all of their staff a real living wage from January this year. The first, we hope, of many health organisations in the coming months. We also shared the news that our long-term target, Nottingham Forest Football Club, have begun recruiting for matchday staff at the real living wage rate. Stay tuned for our celebration videos, which will be hitting your social medias in the coming weeks. And I just want to take a moment to share and celebrate another big win hot off the press. Please can I welcome to the stage Ruth Gonyu and Mike Hamlin.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Ruth Gonyu. I'm from Nottingham Girls Academy and help run our Equalities Action Group, our citizens team, many of whom are involved tonight. You can see on screen Hayat and Rassan, who took action to encourage Nottingham Forest to pay the living wage. This also kick-started conversations about our school and the living wage. Unfortunately, as they're in Year 11, Hayat and Rassan are very diligent students and couldn't be here tonight with exams around the corner. So on their behalf, and as a member of Greenwood Academy's Trust staff, I'm absolutely delighted to share news, hot off the press, that the Trust is the first multi-academy trust in the country to apply for real living wage accreditation. Mike Hamlin, Chair of the Greenwood Academy's Trust Board, is here with us tonight Could you share with us why the board chose to make this decision, Mike?
I can. Thanks for inviting me tonight. I think, as far as we're concerned, this is a very important announcement. The Greenwood Academies Trust is quite a large multi-academy trust. We're responsible for 37 schools across the broader East Midlands. We employ about 2,000 staff. That's a mixture of teachers, lunchtime supervisors, caterers, cleaners. And we educate about 20,000 students. So that's quite a responsibility. 20,000 students, 2,000 staff. We've been looking at this issue of the real living wage over the last 12 months, and our board took the decision at the last board meeting that from this very month, from April, every single member of the Greenwood Academies Trust would, at the very least, receive the real living wage of £10.90 per hour. We're below that at the moment, and we were below that for about 680 out of the 2,000 staff members we employ. We don't pay the rock bottom minimum wage, we pay a little bit above that, the £10.90 an hour that the real living wage requires. And my proud announcement tonight is that from this month onwards, every single member of the trust will be paid at least the real living wage of £10.90. We take this really as a moral issue, especially given the current cost of living crisis. We want to be a trust that understands and works with its communities, and that includes its staff. And we hope that by committing to that real living wage, our staff will have the public recognition of their value, their true value. And it will make a difference to them. Hopefully, it might make a difference to the broader educational sector, and it might even encourage other MATs, multi-academy trusts, to do the same. We think we're the first MAT to make this move. We're certainly the first large MAT to make this move. It's going to cost us, we've done our sums, it's going to cost us an extra £80,000 a year. That's quite a bit of money. That's about 2.5 teachers worth, if you want to put it in those terms. But we think it's the right thing to do. We think it's the right thing to do, and now is the time to do it. So it's happening from this month. We think it's vitally important, and you're the first to hear about it. Thanks for inviting me tonight.
So, thank you, Mike and Ruth. And Liz, can we all thank them once again? One final round of applause.
Thank you.
Khadija has some flowers to present to you guys. And can we welcome up Colleen and Janet from our mental health team? Thank you.
Hi everyone, my name's Janet Wilcox and I'm a member of St Nick's and also part of the Mental Health Action Team.
I'm Colleen and I'm a support worker and I support black carers who have no other support in the community.
I know from my family, and I know from personal experience the challenges that exist when accessing the mental health service. Challenges of not being listened to as a family member of a loved one who's in the service, who's having treatment in the service. We did everything we could to sort of advocate, but were struggling to find a listening ear. Having a loved one move between the services was very challenging for us. And with that, we felt well, I felt very passionate about wanting to put some actions in place. So we did, what I did was join Nottingham Citizen, and from speaking to Colleen, we know that this was not just an isolated incident, and this is a sort of thing that happens quite often within the mental health system. So we've been working over the last year to push for changes.
Right. I would like to thank colleagues of the Nottinghamshire Healthcare Health Foundation Trust for starting to listen to us and for beginning to implement our 5 policy intervention proposal. Now I'd like to welcome our champion, Paul, from the Trust to share a bit about the work that he's doing with us.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Paul Samuel-Atts. I'm from Nottinghamshire Healthcare Trust, and we provide mental health and community health services across Nottingham and Nottinghamshire. My role is Head of Involvement, Experience and Volunteering, and I think what we do is really important because it's about listening and responding to patient and carer feedback and feedback from families. And it's also about working in partnership with patients, carers and local communities to improve our services. Part of my role is also to make sure that we involve, support and communicate with carers and families. And listening to stories that, like, from Janet, Colleen and other carers, it is really noticeable how often carers feel isolated, frustrated, unsupported, and it has a real impact on people's lives. And we really want to make a difference, and the way to make that difference is to work in partnership with people. And it's been a real pleasure to work with Nottingham Citizens to start to address some of the really difficult issues, and they are real challenges for us. And I was just going to talk about, there are 5 things, and please stop me if I take far too long, but because they are quite complex issues to get right. The first one is about something called advanced statements, and it's when people tell us what they would like to happen in their care, their treatment, who they'd like to be involved before they become unwell. And we're really looking at how do we provide guidance to our staff, how do we ensure that our staff work with people to do that before they become ill, so that we can get the right care and treatment and we can involve Janet and other colleagues in people's care. The second thing we've been looking at is how we train our staff so that they're far more aware of carer issues. And we have developed some care awareness training with carers, and over 800 staff have already taken that training, and it is to make sure that they are really thinking of carers as they do their jobs. The third issue is what happens when, and this is a really difficult situation, and I know you've had personal experience of this, is when there aren't beds available in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire and people have to be placed out of area, which I think is an awful situation because it means they're in unfamiliar places, they're not with their families, and it's very difficult for them to be supported. We don't want that to happen at all, and I think some of the things we're looking at is we've increased the number of beds through other organisations, so there were 50 new beds in Nottingham and Nottinghamshire, so that when people are unwell, they don't have to go out of area. And over the last year, very few people have been placed out of area. It does still regrettably happen, and if it does happen, we want to make sure that they come back as soon as possible, and that before they go, we have good conversations with people's families and with people themselves, so we can try and get it as right as possible. Am I doing all right? 2 more.
Yeah.
So the fourth issue is around how we have good contact with people's families and people that care for people, which is really, really important because, again, if people don't know what's going on, they're not aware of how they can support people that they love, it's really, really difficult. I'm not going to go through all the stuff we've done, but one thing to mention that I think is really, really
good is we've got increasing number of people called peer support workers, so carer peer support workers. And they are people who have had experience as carers who are now working with us to support carers in our services. We've also got a number of carers across our wards and our teams who are called carer links, who are also linked with carers. We need to get better at how we communicate with carers. It is the biggest source of complaints that we get as a trust. So it's really, really important we get that right. And finally, feedback. You raised the issue of how do we know about the experience of carers, and we are trying to improve how we listen to carers and how we get feedback. We do already have surveys which people could do on paper online. We encourage people to use an independent online site called Care Opinion, where people can tell their stories and then we respond to that. But again, we've got more to do, and we'd like to try out text messaging and see whether we can get carers to feedback via that. So that's just a quick,
That's
not
really
so quick
good, Paul. And I was going to say what next, but I think you've covered it in terms of what we're working towards. And it's through Nottingham Citizen that we've been able to sort of approach you as a team and kind of try to move things forward.
Right, thank you. Paul, I would like to thank you for the work that you've done and starting to do. It's given me hope. So I'd like for you to accept these flowers as a token of us saying thank you to you.
And we will continue to work with you because we're meeting every 3 months, aren't we, to make sure it happens. So
Thank you.
Thank you. We really appreciate it. Right, guys. You want to go? Well, we've been sitting for a little while now, so I want to encourage, if you can, just to stand up and maybe smile at somebody you haven't, that you don't know, and just move your legs a little bit until we get to the next section.
Sorry, just popped into me.
Hi, I am Mikhail from Sycamore Academy, and today we'll be talking about our school. We've been working on our manifesto since last October, involving dozens of organisations, listening carefully to our friends, and sharing our stories. We have thought that what we could do to address the issues that concern us and the asks we make this evening have been negotiated with the various decision makers who will join us on stage. There are no surprises for them, and we hope for us. You may be sitting on stage, but you are by no means an audience.
Indeed, as Nottingham citizen members, we are committed and recommitting this evening to be a part of this change ourselves. We do not expect, nor do we wish, our city leaders do it all themselves. We believe they need us, and we want to work for them. These issues are being worked out with ongoing dialogue and by building a public relationship. Can we please welcome Hogarth Academy to set the scene in a poem they have written for tonight.
May I have your attention, please? Food's gone up, we're gonna have a problem here. Stores are acting like they're helping, sure, while we sit here with our pockets full. We may end up on the streets, can't even buy a loaf of bread or sweets. Mummy needs a job, say what? May I have your attention, please? It's not just about wealth, it's about mental health. We need to talk, we need to share, we need to know that people care. Exams, stats, bills, all pushing us down into a big frown. May I have your attention, please? Safety is important, safety is key. How does just speeding and poor parking look after me? Keep us safe, we only have one life. We want to live it fully without any strife.
Thanks for that lovely poem, Hogarth. My name is Lottie and I'm from Nottingham Youth Climate Assembly. That was a great introduction. Before we hear shortly some personal stories about each of the issues, after which we'll put our proposals for change to our political leaders, we also have some of our team on hand ready to seek clarity about the responses we receive from councillors this evening. Firstly, the cost of living. But let's call it what this is. We mean poverty. The fact that 42,000 children in this city are classed as living in poverty is shocking. Many families in work are struggling and it's harder and harder to survive. Never mind thrive. Let's hear from Talisha.
Hi, my name is Talisha. I have noticed how the cost of living has really affected my family. My mum puts in money in the meter and gas and electricity. In the past, when she puts £40 in, it would last for such a long time. This weekend, she put in the same amount of money, but it ran out before she came back from work. And I had to sit there and wait for her with no heating or electric, so I couldn't even watch the TV. I know many people who cannot afford to top up their meter or even know how. Sometimes we top it up, but it doesn't work, and it takes a couple of days for somebody to come out and sort it. In the meantime, we have no gas or electricity. Sometimes there is an emergency to help top up the meter, but sometimes it's not available for anybody. I go shopping with my mum and we spend quite a lot of money for food, but it doesn't buy as much as we would expect, so we have to cut down on some things. Before, we used to get 2 items in case we ran out, but now we think carefully and only get it if we really need it. My mum and my grandma are both carers who work real hard looking after old people in a residential home. My mum has to get 2 buses to get there, and transport costs have gone up too. On Sundays, the buses on Sundays have stopped early, and she cannot get a bus home late, so she'll have to pay for a taxi. Which is also very expensive. It means that a lot of money she earns from work goes into getting to work and back. I am really concerned about the people in the same situation as us, who, like my mum and my grandma, work very hard and it's still difficult to pay for essentials. I would like other people to be able to get help and advice and someone to listen to their problems. People who are struggling need to be heard, but not even than being heard. We also need some action, and that is why I'm here tonight. Thank you.
I'd like to invite the candidates back onto the stage.
Thank you for Talisha for speaking up. We are Taylor and Evelyn from Clarside Academy, and we are going to take us through the Ask for Cost of Living. Councillor Mellon and Mr Atherton, we commit to collate and share best practice across Nottinghamshire schools around school-specific intervention. To address these issues, convene our academy leaders for a cost of living summit by the end of this school year.
If elected, will you lobby the government and local politicians for the free school meals for all children? Use your influence to work with multi-academy trust leaders to build a cost of living action plan to poverty-proof our schools. Work with Nottingham City Transport to extend our free bus travel for all under 18-year-olds in the city every school holiday. Play your part in tackling work poverty by ensuring that every council employee receives at least a real living wage of £10.90 per hour and commit to the annual rate rise.
Once again, let's take responses. And remember, we are timing. Mr Atherton, please can you respond first?
Can I just ask, how long do I have again, sorry?
2 minutes.
2 minutes, perfect. I'm going to time myself so I can keep an eye on it as well. Thank you so much. I think there's loads of things we can do as a council and that we can lobby the national government for. Going down these really quickly, because I've got so much I want to talk about. Free school meals. Over 1/3 of pupils in England currently receive free school meals. Great. It's a double-edged sword. It's bad that people need free school meals, but it's great that there is that support. And if we're going to target that every school child should have free school meals, yes, absolutely. We should aim for that. We should make sure that those who need it first get it, and then we gradually get to the point, because we know how important breakfast is, we know how important lunch is. Kellogg's is a really trusted charity, their charitable side. Sorry, I'm making the speaker go a bit weird. And they have told the government time and time again the value of a good, warm lunch. So I think definitely set those high targets. Cost of living action plan, absolutely. Poverty-proofing schools is fundamental. It's really easy. There's so many things you can do that just need that conversation to start it. How you identify people on free school meals, that should be a consideration. You don't want to single out people and segregate in terms of, sit over here if you're getting a free school meal. I have wonderful if I may say, ideas about how to tackle that. Reconsider school uniforms. They're so expensive. Just make them something you can buy at Primark and iron on the logo there. Why not? Or buy them wholesale for the school. Non-uniform days is a sly way of segregating groups into, I can afford to have a free school meal. I can afford to have a non-uniform day and donate. I can't. They don't turn up to school. They've missed an entire day of school. After-school clubs. It's a godsend for parents who can't afford to take time off work or pay for traditional forms of childcare. We need to work with the private sector and organisations like Forest, Notts County, get children staying after school for a couple more hours. I know people come up with ideas of we should make schools stay open until 5. That may well be an option. We need to look at real-term ideas of solving that, and so childcare isn't something people need to focus on. And finally, I've really not gotten through any of my things, but yes to free transport. It's vital over the summer holidays. It's vital any day of the week for children to feel independent and able to go see their friends or go to activities. And we got onto real living wage, but I haven't. Yes to that, absolutely.
Thank you, Mr. Atherton. Over to you, Councillor Mellon.
4 questions, 2 minutes, 30 seconds each, talking fast. The current cost of living crisis is the worst for many years, and we will do what we can as a City Council. It's one of our 5 top pledges to help people with the cost of living crisis, including lobbying for free school meals for all children. Many more than 30% in Nottingham receive them already, but that's not enough. We've already helped households by distributing £2 million to children who receive free school meals through the Household Support Fund for holidays. Many schools are doing great stuff already. We would bring in, as a Labour Party, essentially compulsory breakfast clubs. Many schools already do that, free fruit, after-school clubs. But we just don't need to work with schools. There's 13 weeks of holiday. Those are the most difficult time for our families. We need to support families then. It would be wrong to me, with our bus company struggling post-COVID, to say, yes, it would be lovely to have free school travel. We can't afford that at the moment. But we are going to be in a devolved authority. And if you look at Manchester, Andy Burnham, the mayor there, has a £1 fixed charges for 11 to 16-year-olds. In London, under 16s go free and get a discount on the tube. We'd love to get to that position under our devolved arrangement. The lowest paid in the council at the moment get to £10.60, 35p off the real living wage. Next year, the sort of first point of pay is £11.59 in the negotiations which go on. Different timescales for the Real Living Wage Foundation, who set the real living wage, and the timescales for government. But in our manifesto, there is a pledge in here to become a real living wage city, not just within the council, but also for those whose services we procure by 2027. If we can do it faster than that, then we will. Thank you.
Councillor Atherton, thank you. Thank you for agreeing to provide free school meals for all children and using your influence to work with multi-academy trust leaders to build a cost of living action plan to poverty-proof our schools. We also would like to thank you that you would want to extend beyond holidays. Mr. Atherton, wonderful to hear that you would work to extend free travel to other times of the year. Thank you. How will you keep this on the council's agenda?
I can also stand up, I don't mind. Hello? Oh. Is that better? Yeah, there we go. Oh, I can hear my own voice, which is terrible. Do you want me to say this in only a couple of sentences, or can I take half an hour? No. Absolutely, if I'm elected, I think you've always got to aim for the stars, and if you don't quite reach there, you've still tried. And I think free travel for under 18-year-olds is absolutely one of those pledges that I will personally keep on looking for realistic, common sense ways that we can maybe match that, or at least we can look at the people who need it the most. The council is good on a lot of these things. You won't hear many Conservatives admit that in a Labour-run area, but you've got to be realistic. But there's always room for improvement, and I will absolutely wave that flag saying, here's one of the things we should be aiming for and aspiring for, and I hope constructively to help the council find ways to do that. Because I think free transport outside of school times is really important if you live on the edge of the city where there's no parks nearby, your parents are working every day, and you want to get into the city centre, because that's what I did when I was young. I went and did a youth theatre in the city centre every day over summer. And that was vital to me getting the confidence to be able to talk in front of so many people looking at me all at once. So I really want to make sure that those opportunities are there for everyone.
Councillor Mellon, Councillor Mellon, what can you do to work with NCT to extend the free bus travel for all under 18-year-olds in the city every school holiday?
Happy to work with Nottingham City Transport because it is owned by the council, or like 95% of it, one of the few bus companies in the country that is owned by council, and it's a good bus service. What I wouldn't want to do is to make promises that we can't keep, promises that lead to perhaps the buses that now come every 10 minutes being every 15 or every 20 because the bus company had to reduce the frequency. It is a business. It's had some support from government during COVID. That is about to come to an end. So I would happy to lobby and work towards that, to continue to extend some of the discounts that are already there for young people. I can't sit here and promise free transport all the way through the summer holidays, but I'm happy to lobby for that to be an end and an aim in the future.
Thank you, Councillor Mellon, for agreeing to work toward working with Nottingham City Council Transport to extend the free bus travel for all under 18-year-olds in every school holiday. Mr. Daniel Atherton, what steps would you take to make sure playing your part in tackling in-work poverty by ensuring that every council employee receives a real living wage of £10.90 and commit to the annual rate rise? Will you make sure this stays on top of the city agenda?
You're very kind to ask that because that's the one bit I really didn't get to and I just said yes to. I'm not going to read out everything I'd planned to say because that would be very unfair. But generally speaking, the real living wage is fundamental, and we've seen that during the cost of living crisis. We've seen, I know it myself, when you realise that the cheque you're getting well, it's not a cheque, the bank deposit you're getting at the end of the month doesn't cover everything. And I feel like my generation's had it stolen, that it used to be the case that you could always expect to save up at the end. So absolutely, real living wage is fundamental. The ways I'd look into it, if I was to be a councillor and potentially leader of the opposition, lovely title, just slip that in there, would be constructive cooperation with the council, because it's not something you can just turn around and wave a magic wand. As Councillor Mellon said, it's an expensive thing. But there's ways that, and this is something I did really want to chime in at the end, just there, bump that. The way we're combining local authorities, in a sense, is the cooperation we need to be realistic to find the money. Finding ways that we can share services between Nottingham City, Nottinghamshire, the local boroughs, the districts, Derby, because public transport-wise, a lot of people from Derby come into the city here, and vice versa. I went to Bilborough College, and half the students there are all from Derby. So the way we're going to find the money to be able to deliver a real living wage, it does make sense, I'm getting around to it, is by finding those cost-effective means of increasing the finances that the council can put on that sort of thing. So fingers crossed, the future's bright. The future's...
Thanks for your responses to playing your role in giving every council employee a real living wage. Councillor Mellon, last meeting, a previous meeting, you mentioned that you have an ambition to give every council employee a real living wage. How do you plan to execute that ambition?
You're right. The meeting at the Girls' Academy did say that. And the difference between the government level of minimum wage, they call it the living wage, and the real living wage foundations, it's very complicated. Living wage is only about 35, 40p, so they're getting closer together. There are a lot of things I would criticise the Conservative government for. However, the fact that they're raising the legal minimum wage to close to the living wage is good. So I would pay credit to them for that. We have a plan and we have an ambition in our manifesto that has gone out as our pledges to the people of Nottingham to get to that stage. The people who are yet not getting the real living wage are people like midday supervisors, people who perhaps only have a job for a few hours a week. It's really important for them to get there. Some of our care workers or care assistants are not getting that wage. A small number of people, but we will work towards that. Our ambition in this manifesto, and in 2027, people will ask us, well, what did you do with that? We hope to get there before that. We hope the government will help us, because that's important too. In the cost of living crisis, everybody in the country should get that. We employ a lot of people in the City Council. We don't ship out services to other organisations for them to be delivered. We employ many of them directly. And so, as I sit here today, I don't know when that day will be, but we're getting close to it all the time.
Thank you for this response to committing to that every council employee receives a real living wage.
Moving on now to our second issue of mental health. For children and young people who have experienced the disruption of COVID, the impact of this on top of existing mental health pressures has been huge. Over to Alex and Magdalena.
I'm Alex from Nottingham Academy. This is my story on mental health and how it's affected me. For a while now, my mental health, which consists of feelings of depression and anxiety, have affected me in places such as home, school, or anywhere else. Mental health has also affected my mum, mainly due to financial problems. This used to make me wonder if I would have something to eat that night or not. Most days, I wouldn't even have the motivation to brush my teeth or even get out of bed. I also feel discriminated against for identifying as who I am right now. Other concerns I have are how well I do in school, as this makes me stressed and worried about my future and if I will be completely accepted. I wanted to speak out about the specific issue, since a lot of young people like myself try to deny how they feel, since they may think that they are too young or have it too good to be struggling. I would like to see an accepting community where people aren't afraid to speak out about their issues. I think it would be really helpful if local communities such as school raise awareness on how you can experience negative feelings no matter who you are or how your life is. That is why I'm here tonight, to make change and ask you to stand with us in doing so. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Magdalena from Nottingham Girls Academy, and I am concerned about mental health. Once I had a friend who was struggling with mental health issues quite a lot and didn't really find too much support in me, even though I was trying. And in February last year, unfortunately, one of my old primary school friends passed away, that was another friend that I lost. And it just kept on happening, like more and more people just started walking away from me. And this made me concentrate less on school and like more on grieving and like just being alone and focusing on worries instead of education. And I wanted a therapist, but like I remembered that my old friend didn't really find too much support in like those kind of things, and always nagged about how they don't really do anything. And so I just kept my emotions to myself. And I hope that Nottingham citizens will help me and everyone else here express themselves more freely and make help more available. Thank you.
I'm Marley from Nottingham Girls Academy. So candidates, these are tough stories to share and hear. So well done to Alex and Magdalena for their honesty tonight. In terms of mental health, I am confirming that we will collate and share a toolkit of in-school interventions, for example, wellbeing stations outside of reflective areas to support wellbeing, and source training to develop peer-to-peer mental health champions. And asking, if elected, will you ensure All schools have a named senior leader responsible for mental health and well-being. And will you write to every Greater Nottingham MP in support of Citizens UK campaign for school-based counselling? Will you identify a named person to work with Challenge Nottingham and the Nottingham Business Innovation District to promote free summer arts activities for free travel? And will you identify a named person to develop at least 3 new green areas for the young people in the city and further support activities? For example, the Green Hustle for young people to connect positively around the climate emergency. How do you respond? Councillor Mellon, please come to the mic first.
Thank you very much. Can I just say, I thought Alex and Magdalena, your contributions this evening were very brave and very bold, and thank you for having the bravery to share that today. Mental health is an issue for all of us. There's not some people who have poor mental health. All of us can have poor mental health at different times. I've known that in my life, as well as many of you sitting here. Most of the schools in our city do have a designated senior mental health lead, and that is a requirement if people want help from the mental health support team within the council. At the moment, 76 out of 126 schools have that. We aim to get to 100, if not everyone. We don't run all the schools as the council. Many of them are run by academy trusts, as we have heard, but we will use our influence, and I'm very happy to write to MPs to ask for that support. The training that we have in Nottingham for teachers is really important, so that teachers who may not in their teacher training have had training specifically on how to support their pupils and their mental health is now being rolled out across our schools. In terms of working with the Challenge Nottingham and the bid, very happy to do that. As of my previous comments about free travel, I don't want to repeat those, but our activities across our city, not just in the city centre, but in our communities, is also really important. And then new green areas. We're proud in Nottingham to already have 70 parks with green flag status and many more. But as part of our development of the Broadmarsh site, not all of which has been determined, but the bit which has, and it's just behind this church, is going to be our Green Heart, which will start being worked on, a new city centre park later on this year, starting with it being hopefully ready by the end of next year, and that will join up with the new city centre library, which will open later this year.
And over to Mr. Atherton.
Thank you so much. Mental health, it's the one thing that makes me smile is that we're talking about it. I graduated, you can't say that. I left college 10 years ago, more or less to the day. And back then, it wasn't spoken about. I don't remember there ever being anyone in my college or in my secondary school who was designated as a counsellor you could go for help. And my 8-year-old niece is coming home now and saying, I was talking about my mental health today. And that's amazing. That's really good progress. And it's the fact that we're discussing it here. In terms of expanding on that and developing it, I think for sure, part of the reason, I'm going to toot the Conservatives' horn here, is because back in, I think, 2021, the Department for Education started offering grants to fund the training of this. There's been other supports, but I think that's it. We need to bring it together and get a switched on approach where everyone's working together for the benefit of it. We've got the hospitals, we've got the councils, we've got the government, all working on the same side for the same good cause. And part of that, I think, is also finding a way to bring in all of these teachers, the senior mental health leads at each school. I would propose, personally, if I was responsible for it, having once a year, if not twice a year, all of them coming together, sharing their experiences, sharing their sort of best practice, getting a better understanding of what the issues are, letting the council respond to it, and letting the government know what they need to be doing. Because I think the people who are on the ground know it best. Going otherwise, because I don't want to rant too much, writing to every Greater Nottingham MP, I hope that we won't need to, because I hope that we'll be such a good representative of it, because we're on the way there. We are doing better than some other cities, and I hope that we can be the beacon of how to be a really good city for mental health, and that will just shine out, and we don't even need to tell the MPs, we just need to tell Downing Street about it. And then about how to work on free summer arts activities. I have a wonderful idea for having summer activities take place in each of our big parks that you can go to every day of the summer, and they're attached to Woollerton Park, Genogley Academy by Forest Rec, Victoria Embankment, Stenton, just making it so it's in the community for everyone to go to.
Thank you for both of your commitments, and I would just like to ask Councillor Mellon, the spaces that you mentioned in the Ask, developing 3 new green areas for young people in the city, what might these spaces include?
Well, as I said, the new Green Heart in the centre in Broadmarsh, if you walk up the pathway now between Carrington Street and Listergate, you go along a corridor that's outside for the first time for many, many years. To the left of that, if you're coming up, is a big cleared space just behind St Nick's Church, and the work will be starting on that. That's a new park. We also want to enhance the ones we've already had, taking money from government and other sources. For example, in Collick Park, on the east of the city, they've improved the paths, and that's an ongoing process. Woollerton Park is already very famous and very attractive, and we will continue to have things there that make people want to go to them. And we've also announced that we will reopen Nottingham Castle for free, first of all, for the coronation and for the concert from Windsor Castle, and also for Eurovision. And then we are not yet named the date, but it will be open for good in June at some point. That is also a very important green space that's been closed since the end of November.
Thank you, Councillor Mellon, and I would now like to move to Mr. Atherton. In the first Ask about community schools, you did mention your niece, however, I didn't receive a confirmation, so what is your stance on the Ask?
On ensuring all community schools have a named... Oh, yes, yeah, absolutely. As I said, it's getting there already, but for sure, I think every school needs at least one person who is there, understands it, because it's a very intricate thing. You can't just say, you're the mental health lead, because I've seen situations where that's happened, and they are completely ill-equipped. It should be trained and it is on the way there. It should be trained just as much as the registered first aider of a school. It should receive the same number of hours to get there. It should receive the same prioritisation and importance. And if we can have that in every single school, and every academy should be following suit, and every place where children are, and young adults, that would be perfect. So absolutely, yes.
Thank you for those responses, and I think we should all give them a round of applause.
Our final issue is safety, specifically traffic and road safety. Let's welcome up Anaya to share with us.
Hello, my name is Anaya, and I wanted to share my thoughts on road safety. I'm really concerned about it mainly because I have a younger sister who has special needs, and she will not be aware of the dangers on the road. Around our school, there is one road where cars come speeding round. Others are parked in a way that blocks the visibility, and drivers cannot see when people are crossing. We have asked the PCSOs to come, and they did, but after a while it went back to the way it was. Luckily, there have not been any accidents yet, but I'm sure if it carries on this way, there will be a terrible accident. I do not want this to be my sister or anybody else. Thank you for listening. We hope you'll be able to help us with our campaign to keep our community safe.
And my name is Bamba.
And my name is Linda, and we are from Huntingdon Academy, and I am confirming that as citizens, we will work with you on the safe and secure UNICEF Child-Friendly City Initiative.
If elected, will you work with Nottingham City Transport to find out more from young people what their experiences are of bus travel, especially with travelling alone? Report back on your findings and action plan by the end of 2023. increase the visibility and presence of community safety officers around schools, re-speeding and safe parking. Mr. Atherton, over to you first.
Very much. Oh, there we go. The UNICEF Child Friendly City initiative is fantastic. Every point in there is something you can stand behind. Things like protected from exploitation, have access to quality social services, have a fair chance of life regardless of their ethnic origin, religion, income, gender or ability. Those are fantastic, and it's really good to hear that that's a priority here. In terms of what I would do, working with city transport, it's important that we understand what young adults, children, students, pupils experience when they're on the buses, because that often prevents people from using buses. If they get bullied, if they feel that it's unsafe, if parents feel that it's unsafe, we need to know all of those things so that we can find a way to increase it, because public transport at the end of the day is the way forwards, and we need to make sure people are happy with that. Report back on my findings, an action plan by the end of 2023, yes, absolutely. Prioritise a school safety campaign. I have two-ish points that I really think are important on this. Trams and buses. And three, in fact. Trams, buses, and walking buses. So trams, parents drop their kids off at trams, kids get off of trams and are met by teachers a lot of the time. There's that bit in between, which is stopping children from using trams because they're being bullied, they don't feel safe, they don't have the money to use a tram. So we need to find ways to target increasing use of trams. Same with buses. I remember when I was at primary school, we had school buses, and as I've grown up, I've seen those school buses disappear. I've seen initiatives to try and replace them, having specifically scheduled buses. We need to look at better ways and prioritise the ways that work, such as having this bus here is a pupils-only one, for example. And then the third one, which was the walking bus, park and walk, sounds a bit better. That's for when children might be too young to use public transport. We need to make a way for children to be able to walk to schools. Maybe that's with a car park nearby they're all met at. Parents can drop off their children, then they walk to schools with the teachers. There's common sense ways we can go forwards, I think.
Thank you, Mr. Atherton. Over to you, Councillor Mellon.
Thank you. This is a really important topic. It's one that is dear to the heart of Nottingham and the council. We work closely, as I've said, with Nottingham City Council, City Transport. We are in the process of setting up a bus users group, and this shouldn't just be for adults, it should be for children and young people too. I know lots of you as children and young people use our bus and our trams. If you come on either about 3:30 or 3:15 in the afternoon, it's very full. And that's good, and they need to be safe places. I was on the tram when there was an incident recently, and a young person was left in tears. As the adults with me, we stood with that young person until they got off, and then we did report that to the police because it's not on. But it's really important that they're safe, and we're not there yet. We need to work on that. We do have drivers on buses, we do have inspectors on trams, but they can't be everywhere at once. The council is committed to making active travel easier in the city, more cycle lanes, more school streets. That is where cars are not allowed to go near the schools, and we can't enforce it because there's no law for that, but actually we've put flower beds at the end of streets. Sadly, we've had people with 4x4s move those beds with their cars so that they can drive along those streets. It's silly, it's endangering children, and we will continue with that process. The sad thing is that why schools can't really do walking buses anymore is because of the funding in schools, and those staff are not there in the same way as they were. And until we fund schools properly, then those things will be things that go because they're not the absolute essentials and the core of business. But happy to work with you on all of these things, happy to report back findings, happy to prioritise a school travel safety campaign, and let's encourage each other to get out of our cars and to walk. I know sometimes your parents are dropping you off on the way to work. Can they drop you off a street earlier? Can we make it safer for everybody?
Thank you, Councillor Mallon and Councillor Atherton. First, I wanted to ask Councillor Atherton, you didn't have time to answer the last question, so what's your answer on it?
You're very charitable letting me answer that. It's my own fault for poor timekeeping and having so much I want to talk about, because it's exciting, it's something to improve. Increasing the visibility and presence of community safety officers around schools regarding speeding and safe parking. I think that comes in part, it's a two-headed issue. We want to try and tackle it so there isn't an issue with parking and speeding, because we've got the parents dropping children off elsewhere, and we've got better ways of bringing children to schools. But in terms of increasing the safety, and I know this, I'm from Wilford, where we've got one road in, one road out, and it's about as wide as the 18, 17, 16, I did a history thing, I should know this. It's a very old road, it's not wide enough for two cars. So when you've got a whole row of people parked on one side, impossible. The issue is we're not treating things until someone's been killed, and that's not the policy we should do. And that's no fault of anyone, it's just we're leaving things too late. So addressing that, I think CPSOs, they can't be everywhere all at once, but definitely finding a way to fund more. It's always about money. Finding a way to prioritize the way they use their time. CPSOs and PSOs, there's another one, can't spend their whole day everywhere, but they don't need to be outside of schools between midday and 1. They need to be there between 8 and 9 and 3 and 4. So it's working for common sense ways to try and find a way to take the resources we've got at the moment and put them into the places that matter, because the issue is we do have them attending schools, but it's at useless times, and it's once every 3-4 months, so it's not stopping the issue of speeding and poor parking. So finding common sense ways forwards to get them there when we need them.
Thank you, Mr. Atherton. Now on to Councillor Mellon. Could you say more about what you would actually do to encourage PCSOs to be more present around school start and end times?
So there's 3 sets of staff here. The PCSOs are actually employed by the police. They don't have powers over parking, but they do have powers over order, and the police have had more staff in the last few years. Unlike the council, who has less staff, our community protection officers do lots of things, from fly tipping, enforcing dog control, and people who let their dogs foul on the streets, as well as keeping order around schools. And then there are parking enforcement officers. As Daniel said, they can't be everywhere at once, but they do try to be around schools. But we need to not only have sensible behaviour when somebody in a uniform is there. These are parents, largely, parents whose children are endangered by poor behaviour. So, yes, we can get them there, but that should not be the cause. As Nottingham people, as Nottingham citizens, we should all agree we will keep our children safe by not driving badly around schools, or anywhere else for that matter.
Thank you, Councillor Mellon and Atherton, for answering our commitments. Can the audience please show their appreciation for the efforts of the councillors by clapping them?
You're Aruj. So thank you, everyone. Let's welcome Aruj for our final piece of business.
Our final asks about continuing our relationship, also our accountability. So on behalf of Young People's Manifesto team and the Alliance, my name is Aruj from Nottingham Girls Academy, and I am asking, if elected, will you meet with us twice a year, within 3 months, convene a city council and a multiple trust forum, which includes citizen leaders, to build a strong partnerships working and ensure these asks will be implemented. Each candidate has 30 seconds to respond. Councillor Mellon, over to you first.
Happy to meet with you. It will be a privilege twice a year. The second question, yes, happy to invite multi-academy trusts. We don't run education in the city anymore. So we have good relationships, better relationships with some multi-academy trusts than others. There are over 20 of them in our city. Happy to invite them. I can't enforce them to come, but actually happy to work with them because they are the people that are educating our children, as well as the Nottingham Schools Trust, which runs 30 plus of our primary schools and special schools.
Thank you, Councillor Mellon. Over to you, Mr. Afan.
Thanks so much. I must confess, this is the first time I've been to this, and I love it. I'm going to do more than twice a year. I'm going to come as many times as I can, but I will meet in a formal way at least twice a year. In terms of convening a City Council Multi-Academy Trust Forum, I think that's something, it's in their interests. It's leaders of industries, it's leaders of school trusts should be there at the table to have their say and to share their best knowledge and things like that. I'm going to go one step further than that, and I want to set up a youth cabinet. I want there to be young people in the council house, in the chamber, not at the same time as councillors, but they're feeding their expertise, feeding their knowledge, feeding their future aspirations into a youth cabinet and a youth mayor. They're leading it. Things like this. I think it's fantastic, and there's such a future for it.
Thank you, candidates. Let's give them all a final round of applause as they return to their seats. Now, I would like to invite up Anna Collette to share with us.
Thank you. Why are you standing behind me? Come on. Hello, my name's Anna and I'm Marley's mother. Why are you hiding? As a parent of a young person in Nottingham, I'm fully supportive of all the concerns raised by them this evening and will use my vote on their behalf. According to the party and representative who is most aligned with these issues and most committed to addressing them. It's been so interesting to learn about the areas of most concern to our young people, being mental health, safety and the cost of living. And it's humbling and inspiring to know how aware, both of themselves and their peers, and of the families that make up their community, these young people are. That they should be so acutely aware and concerned about mental health amongst their peers is hopefully a fantastic sign that any mental health problems can be recognised and helped increasingly quickly and deftly. We frankly need to follow their example on this and take concerns over mental health seriously and to provide the necessary support without sort of red tape or lack of trained professionals that we have at the minute. They're a barrier to getting the support in a timely manner. The future which is in their hands, I think, is promising. The cost of living is an issue very close to my heart, my family being directly affected by how hard life is financially currently. And listening to the young citizens, I'm made aware that not only that we as adults are stressed about this, but the stress is being felt by our younger family and community members. The issue that took me a little by surprise was that of safety. So when I asked my daughter, she explained that they're worried about many things, like how road users driving safely so that they can cross roads without fear of being struck by careless drivers. But worryingly, they're also worried, as we've said, about taking the bus, which many have to do to get to school, as they don't feel safe. And that's a major concern as a parent. And I would absolutely love to hear of any solutions, and we have heard tonight our representatives can offer to this. We need councillors who are willing to listen and really hear what our young people are saying about what affects them, and this will make a difference to parents like myself when using our vote. The young people here are change makers, and they need us to facilitate the changes that they need to be made. It's increasingly important, I believe, that our young people are educated in community matters and encourage them to believe that they are members of the community too, and important ones at that. The more socially aware our school-aged children can be, the better our local community can be at responding to its changing needs and concerns. Children being seen and not heard should really be long forgotten, but it takes education and you taking their views very seriously for them to have the courage to stand up and be heard, as our young people have been this evening. Trust them, they're out there living as young citizens of our city. And our job should be to respond to what they're telling us and find solutions to help them improve the future for us all. And I will respond to this by using my vote on their behalf. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Good evening. Thanks, Mum. Now is the moment of truth. My fellow young people, you now have an opportunity to vote. for your preferred candidate. You've all been given a voting slip. Now simply tick the box and place it in one of the ballot boxes around the room. Please, can we all do this within the next 3 minutes? We have 5 minutes to stretch our legs, use the toilet, and I know because I do need it. And then maybe talk to someone that you don't know, and then the bell will all bring us back to our seats. Thank you.
it. Where is he?
Do you want to go? That's great.
Oh, yeah, that used to be fun at school, didn't it? Can this go higher? Yeah, thanks.
Okay, hello. And welcome again, welcome back. Thanks for staying. Just before we have the results of the juries, I'm Susan King from Nottingham Liberal Synagogue.
And I'm Shawana Qureshi-Khan from HIMA Social Justice Charity.
And on behalf of the Nottingham Leadership Team, Nottingham Citizens Leadership Team, it's our pleasure to share with you the exciting next steps for our alliance. As you may have heard, a general election is coming. We don't know exactly when, but probably sometime next year. What we do know is it'll be a great chance for us to get organised. As Nottingham Citizens, the local chapter of Citizens UK, we can take action on issues that matter to us, and we can work with politicians to make a difference. Maybe you're not sure about getting involved in politics. Maybe you've been put off in recent years. We hope that what we've seen this evening has restored some of your faith. Young people standing up, taking the lead, and showing us how to engage in politics in a positive and meaningful way.
There's several parts to the general election strategy, but before I go on to that, we've just heard from the politicians, the issues at large, the children's voices. So the main thing we want tonight is that you all are invested, excited, and interested in taking part. So what do you need to know? From autumn, we are going to focus on the general election. We'll be joining with 17 other UK citizens chapters, uniting our collective power under the guidance of the Citizens UK General Election Action Team. We know from experience we can do a lot at a local level, and we've heard a lot about the work that's been going on throughout the years with citizens. But we also know that at a local level, we are highly affected by what happens at a national level. So to fix things, we also need to play our part in the national election and make a fix with the national politics. This is the moment to play our part for those who want change. So this means that we won't be starting a fresh round of listening, but it will be about encouraging some members to listen a little bit deeper around some of the areas that we're really passionate about. We are constantly aware of the social injustices that our communities face. So we will be looking at this at a wider scale within the UK. I'll let Susan now talk more about this.
So we'll be asking you to join in with national campaigns. Some of these have already been agreed. These are issues close to many of our hearts. The living wage, we've heard a lot about that today. Migration justice, which we haven't heard a lot about today, but a lot of us are very passionate about. And mental health. With our track record as Nottingham Citizens on anti-racism, we're also working to get anti-racism in education added to the National Citizens UK agenda. After tonight, we'll be sharing with you the opportunities to join in and asking that you send us names of interested people before the 9th of May Citizens UK Delegates Assembly that will be working on this.
Okay. We'll be running voter registration drives in schools, colleges, and civil society institutions. This gives you an opportunity to get behind something that you have direct action and power over. An election gives us a perfect opportunity to speak to the people about the importance of democracy. not just by getting to the ballot box, by taking action in our communities. As part of this, Citizens UK have developed 100% registration accreditation. Wouldn't it be exciting if we could each take some responsibility? What that looks like is you could work with us in getting every single person registered, every person you're connected to within your organisation registered to vote.
Lastly, we'll be bringing together teams of people to take the Citizens UK agenda to Nottinghamshire MPs. We already have good working relationships with our 3 city MPs, and we'll be looking to build teams in Broxtowe, Gedling and Rushcliffe constituencies. Dedicating some time to this is part of our desire to build out into the county as part of a rebrand under the possible name of Nottingham and South Notts Citizens.
So, think about what's getting you interested, what's ignited you, what's brought you here tonight. I want you to think about the injustices. What would your organisations like to get behind? What have you been discussing and what's important to you? We'll be in touch in the coming weeks to listen to those voices and take those opportunities forward. This is the time to get behind the general election. Okay, it's time for a really big moment. So can I please invite Marley back to the stage so we can reveal the results of the Young People's Manifesto.
Dun, dun, dun.
Thank you, Shona. It is my pleasure this evening, as your returning officer, to provide public notice of the results of the Young People's Manifesto election. Councillor David Mellon, you have 32 votes. Mr. Daniel Atherton, you have 26 votes. And the Independent Party has 2 votes.
Back to you.
So, congratulations. Thank you, Marley. Thank you to our candidates and other invited guests. And thank you most of all to you, our member organisations, for your ongoing partnerships for justice and the common good. In about 10 minutes, there will be an evaluation of the evening here in the chancel. Do join us to help us learn. For now, though, the assembly is officially over. Thank you again for the fantastic choir from God's Vineyard Ministries, who will sing for us again as we leave.